2021, you closed $40 million in volume.
Yeah. I think social media is one of the best platforms we've ever had. I think in a different world, I would be very unsuccessful. You have to do some sort of pattern interrupting if you want to create content.
Love that.
Because if you post the same content the guy before you did, and the guy before you did, and the guy before you did, but just with your face, you're a handsome dude, but it's not gonna cut it. My grandpa was in the mafia, so he left us a bunch of money.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
You went from being, as you call yourself, a broke bartender to now a millionaire real estate agent. How many transactions have been the most that you closed in a year? So now I am with my good friend Justin Himmelbaum from Palm Beach County. Successful real estate agent. 2021, you closed $40 million in volume.
Yeah.
Not many people I know can say that. And not only that, pretty much in less than 5 years into real estate. You went from being, as you call yourself, a broke bartender to now a millionaire real estate agent. I know that we connected pretty recent. Maybe we knew of each other at some point. We tried to do a deal.
Yeah.
It didn't go
right
through.
Over here.
Yeah. We connected recently, and I like what you're doing, especially on social. So that's why I wanted to bring you here, because I know that you can bring a lot of value for the audience. So first of all, I wanted to know a little bit about yourself and how do you since you're born until now, a lot of things happen. So start there. Are you originally from here, South Florida?
So I grew up in Boca Raton. My mom's a hospice nurse and my dad is a therapist. So they're really like loving, caring, hippie people. My grandpa was in the mafia, so he left us a bunch of money.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What?
And so,
for real?
Yeah. So my grandpa left us a bunch of money, and I think my parents never really had to get a job or get serious, but they were very loving people. So I grew up with a lot of love in my life and just always want to share that with other people. So bartending was amazing for me when I did it. It was really nice to be able to help people meet and facilitate good times for people. I really like that.
So the social part of that, which it transpired, you just got to see one video from this guy's social media and you could tell your personality. It comes from the family. Do you have siblings?
Yeah, so I have two brothers. They're 8 and 13 years older than me. The one that's 8 years older than me is like me on steroids.
Really?
He's maybe twice as social as I am,
really?
And I am constantly doing. My oldest brother's a little more chill, but still very social as well.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so two brothers. So and then it came from the family. Your dad and your mom, they're kind of like have the similar personality.
Yeah.
Okay.
Super friendly.
So you were born and raised here in West Palm.
Yeah, Boca Raton.
How were you in school?
I have pretty bad ADHD. So, I think the school system's set up to create people who go to school, learn, and become good workers. But the truth is that's not what we were put on this earth to do, right? Put on this earth to experience, enjoy, love, share. Sitting in a classroom is not the best environment for that. And you see schools are starting to change. There are different schools. The public school system doesn't seem to be changing very fast.
They haven't caught up yet.
No, but it was really hard for me in school. It was easy for me because I'm very smart, so I could get good grades without paying attention.
Really?
But the teachers didn't like that I wasn't doing my homework or just
they never
sitting
liked that,
there.
right? It's
no,
like,
they wanted.
I've heard that from multiple people. It's like they never like when they see that you're not necessarily paying attention throughout the entire course, the entire class, but then it's like you come up last minute and it's like boom.
Yeah.
This is what you want me to do? Fill out a test, get an 8, I get it. So it was like that for you.
Exactly. So I remember one time in college, actually, I went to pick up my final exam, and the teacher goes, "Hey, I've never seen you before." And I was like, "Yeah, I only come for the tests." And he was like, "Okay." And then he hands me back my tests, and he looks at the grades of all of them, and he goes, "Okay, I see why." And he was like, to him, he got it. Like,
he got it.
He was there to teach. If I didn't need his teaching, that's okay.
Yes.
I had to pass that
course. He
understood
his role, which is guidance,
Right.
It's like, we're here for the knowledge. And
let's bring that back to real estate, right? Like so many realtors go in and they feel insecure. So the realtor feels they need to provide all of this imaginary value.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to say a lot at the house. I have to I have to do a lot in the transaction or else I didn't do anything.
Yes.
It's like, no, you don't.
Yes.
Your job is to make the transaction go smoothly, make sure all parties are informed.
Yeah.
Your job isn't to do things to boost your ego.
Yes.
That's not the job.
100%. And I'm glad that you brought that up because it's true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misconception. A lot of realtors, they feel that their job is the more I know about the house,
Yeah.
the better I'm equipped to sell it. And that's true. You got to know the product that you're selling. But it's not only about that.
Right.
They become, I don't know, lawyers at that point. It's like I got to know every single detail of it. And the cool thing about social that I know that you're heavy into, it's like, especially in the video side of it, it's like the video does the work for you as far as like displaying the house.
Yeah.
I don't have to go, this is the kitchen, this is the bathroom. You know, it sells for itself, especially if you put money and energy in production, which I know that you do as well.
Yeah.
So, our job, what would you say then it's our job as realtors? Because I've heard from different realtors multiple different answers.
Yeah, if you have a listing, your job is to market that listing and to get it sold to the specifications that seller wants, right? So when you go on a listing appointment, the number one thing you can do is figure out what the motives of your seller is.
Yeah.
Because if let's say you don't ask me why I want to move, you just come to me and you say, hey, I can sell your house, yeah. And I say, okay, sell my house.
Yeah.
And then you sell it for $2 million more than I wanted. But the person wants to close in 3 months. But my house is going to auction in a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Because I'll lose the house before the house sells.
Yeah. It doesn't make
So
sense.
you have to understand the motives of your clients on both sides of the ball, right? I got some buyers. We're looking at $2 million houses right now. And they're fine looking at 2 houses a week and just perusing, but they, we've talked
their
about
own
it.
pace too.
Right.
Their own pace.
Right. And if you don't understand their motivations, you might think, oh, 2 houses a week. Why would I even show them houses?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if they're not serious, it's not worth my time.
So you will attribute your success in closing rent. I mean, again, $40 million. How many transactions have been the most that you close in a year?
107.
107 as a single agent.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a team.
No.
That's a lot.
I have assistants, but I don't have a
Assistants,
team.
obviously staff. It's very hard to get to that number by yourself. You attribute that to knowing their why and their motive. You're saying, what would be those questions that you usually ask when you're in front of a seller that can reveal that motive?
It's a great question. The first question is, hey, what is your motivation for selling? It's as easy as that. You don't need, right? I think a lot of times realtors, we want to overthink it. Oh, I got to figure out a trick way to ask them.
Yeah.
No. Hey, why do you want to sell this house?
What do you want to sell?
All right. What does that mean to you? Okay. So if that happens, where are you going to go? Okay. So why do you want to go there? So you dig deeper and deeper, right? If I ask you a question, hey, what do you do for work? Answer me.
I do plumbing.
You do plumbing. Oh man, why do you like plumbing?
I mean, I feel that I can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like usually when people call me, it's because they have an immediate need, and that usually pays off.
So the money's important to you. What does the money mean to you? Why is that important?
I have family abroad, and I also able to create a lifestyle for myself and send money to them too.
Yeah. So if you could set your family up for the rest of their life abroad, what would that mean to you?
Oh my God, it will mean the world, man. You don't know the need that they have in my homeland, man. It's like.
And what does it mean? What does it mean if you don't accomplish that goal?
If I struggle, they struggle, and man, it will feel very, very bad.
So let's make sure that we get you more plumbing jobs, right? So same thing with selling a house. You have to know their motivation, and really the motivation, not the motivation they tell you the first time.
Yes, you got to go deeper.
The motivation of the motivation of the motivation of the motivation, right?
And it's interesting because I noticed that you touch on something that a lot of successful realtors are trained of, and they preach and they do. It's the pain versus pleasure.
Wow.
It's not only what is the pleasure of getting you these results, it's also what is the pain of not getting there. It's
almost more important.
Yeah, exactly. Some people are more driven by making sure that I don't suffer the pain of not accomplishing it. That's powerful. Would you say that you are a prospector or an attractor when it comes down to business?
I'm an attractor. I work on marketing, so that's what I use social media for. I have a large database. I've worked on creating that database since I was a very young kid.
Yeah.
I didn't understand.
Since you were a kid?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
When I was a little kid, I was always meeting people, bringing them into my world. You know, if you were the shy kid at the party, I was bringing you into the conversation,
Nice.
getting you involved, making you feel wanted and cared for. So I've built this huge database, and I didn't know what that was worth, right? No one told me that if I knew 3,000 people and I kept up with them every day or every week or every month, what that could mean for me financially and what that could mean for my family, right?
100%.
So that freedom, you know, talk about my motivations, the freedom that making that money has given me, the ability to go out and do things like this on a Saturday morning and pour into other people and have them, you know, there's somebody out there right now who's got a very similar journey, and I'm just trying to find him. I'm just speaking to him. I know you feel lost right now. I know it feels like there's no way forward, but let me tell you, with the amount of people you know and with your brains, you can do this.
Yes.
It's going to happen.
100%.
You just have to make sure that you do the work and you don't set yourself back, because it's easy in this world to do things when we feel insecure that really knock us off the track.
That's good. So I could see then, basically what you're saying is you were intentional, not even knowing what outcome would that produce. You were intentional in building relationships.
Yes.
Bringing people to your circle, building relationships overall. And when you came across real estate, that's when you realized the power of the database overall.
It took me about 3 months in this business, and then I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because I did
have something going on.
Yeah, my third month, I think I sold 3 houses.
In your third month?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Huh.
Like, if I could do this 3 months in, I'm going to pour everything, every ounce of energy, every dollar I make, I'm pouring right back into this business, because if this is what I can do in 3 months, what can I do? And my first year I made $260,000 for the people who aren't realtors.
Wow.
It was about $9 million in volume.
That's
if you were a realtor.
Man, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I'm glad to hear that, because a lot of people that I know of that are successful in real estate, they're prospectors. They're good prospectors.
Yeah.
But I feel that there is even more power to the people that they're attractors. I feel that everyone, to some extent, including myself, wish to, and I'm experiencing that now. At the beginning I've been doing this for 8 years. The first 4 years, I was a prospector. But now I'm feeling that I'm more an attractor. That's what social media helps, right?
Yeah.
But social media is just a platform, right? The attraction comes when people connect with you.
Yeah.
There's a very cool quote that says, you can impress people by far, but you need to get closer if you want to influence them. So based on what I'm hearing, especially when you say that since you were a kid, you were intentional on connecting and, you know, with people, even on the one-on-one setting.
Right.
How do you do that? Where do you find the time to connect with people in a one-on-one?
Well, I think social media is one of the best platforms we've ever had. And it's one of the reasons, right? I think in a different world, I would be very unsuccessful. Facebook started when I was about 18. So, and Facebook was only for college kids at that time. So you had to have a college login, email.
Really?
Your email had to be your email had to be ucf.edu or universityofflorida.edu or whatever theirs is, right? So that was the only way to get it. You couldn't, not a .com email, not a .org, nothing. Had to be .edu. And so when I left high school, I was able to follow all my friends from high school. Everyone I'd known from high school and middle school, I went and found them and friended them. And then I kept up with them. And once I got into real estate, I started doing that, going from entrepreneurial to purposeful, right? So I went from, I just do this and I have no systems around it. I just, I meet people, I follow them, we friend each other, we talk, I keep up with them because I genuinely care, right?
Yeah.
I had 3 conversations with realtors yesterday about their social media that will never pan out to anything for me, right?
Yeah.
But someone asked me for help. What am I going to do?
Let me ask you, because I find that we're talking about a lot of social media, and a lot of your business come from social media. What would you say is the percentage?
So it's interesting. It's impossible for me to tell you how much of my business comes from social media. I've had 1 real lead from social media, I think. Maybe 2. But almost everything comes from the moat that I create around my database on social media, right?
Okay.
So, whereas a lot of people use social media to try and meet new people.
Yes.
I am using my social media.
That's a compliment.
Right. I'm using my social media to engage with the people who are already in my database.
That's genius.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I was going
Yeah.
to. So you wouldn't call yourself, because there's 2 parts to it. There's this social media gurus that it's like, I'm gonna start today, I'm gonna open all accounts, I'm gonna learn the algorithm, I'm gonna hire all the best coaches and stuff, I'm gonna grow, and they're intentional, they get all the resources, and it's like from like 0 to a million in like minutes. That
Right.
happens.
Yeah.
That's one way to go about social media.
It is?
The other way that I find, and it's kind of the approach that I take, very similar to what you described, is just a compliment. Social media is not the way, it's just a complement of whatever else that I'm doing.
Right.
It's like integrating those one-on-ones, those relationships that you built since you were a little kid to now. So defining those, would you consider yourself an expert on social media then?
I would consider myself an expert in creating a moat around your own database via social media.
Gotcha.
Yes.
And the reason I ask, I have had conversation recently with people around me that, everyone is on social.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are being intentional, a lot of people producing content, some doing better than others. Who are those that could be considered social media experts? Because we have them on panels, on stage and stuff. What classifies you? What parameters do you have to meet to consider yourself a social media expert?
You have to put it in your biography on social media. If you just put top producer, social media expert, I think you got it.
Yeah, then you got it.
I think you're good.
And the reason I wanted to talk to you about that, because in your case, if I go to yours, it's Instagram, you have what? How many followers?
7,556 today.
Which, again, it's like, as far as followers, it's not much, right?
No.
You have a lot of people with 10, 20, 40, 100,000.
Right.
But in your case, the engagement in your posts, when you scroll down and see the views, not only the views, also people commenting, it's like people are engaged.
Yeah.
Regardless of the amount of following, people engage with your content.
Right.
Why would you say is that?
Because I engage with theirs. So one of my biggest things that I speak about, I'm on stages, I teach, I do all this stuff, and one of the biggest things I say is keep social media social. So many people are so interested in their own ego boost, their own dopamine hits on social media that they just keep producing content and they forget that it's a person on the other side. They start to see it as a follower. It's not a follower. That's a person. So if you go in and you treat all of them like people, now listen, can you have a conversation with every one of your followers every day if you have 7,500 followers? No, physically impossible.
Of course not,
But what I can do is be systematized and purposeful about how I engage with my database on social media. And through that, I can really treat these people like humans because they are. And so I get perturbed in my own mind. I get a little upset based on how much I interact with other people's content and how little they interact with mine, even though my interaction is far greater than almost anybody else's, right?
Really?
Still, for how much I pour into other people's lives, sometimes you're just like, man, I've commented on 10 of your posts in the past month. And you can't heart anything? You just got, I see you watch it, right? Because on my story, I can see you see it.
Yes.
You can't just hit the heart button? And here's what, free advice for anybody listening, but like, you should never like anybody's Instagram. You should like, but that should never be the only thing you do. You should comment. That should never be the only thing you do.
That's advice I would say for realtors looking to...
For anybody. If you want to create relationships, because any business you're in.
That's good.
Okay, let's go to the farthest thing. Let's start going down the rungs of people who need community, right? Okay, I'm a doctor. Do doctors need to be on social media? Yeah, they need clients, because no matter how good you are at, you could be the best at repairing a heart after a heart attack, right? You could be the best ever.
Yep.
If nobody knows about that,
yeah, it's true.
What is that worth? Nothing. If no one comes to you and pays you for it, or even if they don't pay you, gets your service, you're not doing goodwill, you're not getting paid, you're sitting there like a schlub.
Yep.
So that's doctor. Okay. Let's go to plumber. Okay, that's something they need calls, we get that one.
Yep.
Let's go to someone who works for a plumber, right? So now, you're Brian, you work for Copperhead Plumbing, you got a boss, his boss has a boss, his boss has a boss, and then that guy's the owner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So why do you need to comment on people's social media? Why? Because when you're looking for another job, when you're trying to climb the ladder, those are the people who get you the job.
Got you.
Right. Chris Rock has Chris Rock's one of my favorite stand-up comedians ever. But he had a whole thing when the Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton thing was happening, where he was like, man, he was in trouble because not only did they hook up, but he got her a job in the White House. Yep. So they said, hey, Chris Rock said, everyone gets a job from a friend, right? He's like, 80% of the people in here got a job from a friend.
Yep, yep.
Right? And that's the truth, right? Is no matter what you do, this world is about connection.
Yes, 100%.
And so the more you can connect with people, the farther your life's gonna go. So I don't care what your position is, janitor to CEO to president. One of the most famous social media people out there is Gary Vee, right? Yep. And he has made so much money on so many brands.
Yep.
And what's his one thing? He responds to every email, every post, every comment. I see people with 3,000 followers, and I message them, and it says, hey, thanks for messaging. Thanks for messaging, Jorge. Someone on the team will get back to you. What?
Like what?
If Gary Vee can answer every message, Jorge, you can answer every message.
Answer every message. That's so true. And I'm glad that you brought that up, because it's true. Sometimes as content creators, once you get in the world and set yourself for that, as far as creating content, that's just one part of it, creating the content. Yeah. The actual engagement happens when you do what you just said about connecting with people. It's a platform not only to produce content, but also to connect and comment on other people and see what other people's, and not only knowing what they're doing, letting them know that you know what they're doing. That's where the connection is.
We're not on a stage here, so this doesn't work as well, but like, raise your hand if you're listening on your phone or whatever you're doing. Raise your hand if you've ever posted on social media and said, I hope 0 people like, comment, interact with this. I'm just posting this because I want to leave it here, and I don't want anybody to see it. I actually hope. If I get 2 likes, I'm going to be mad. I want 0. Right? Nobody.
Yep.
Because the truth is, it's a dopamine hit. It works.
That's good.
So why aren't you going out there and being people's dopamine dealer?
Yes.
Why don't you go out there and make them feel good?
Yes. And being genuine.
Is that not what you want to do with your life?
Being genuine.
Yeah.
Like the algorithm is designed for nobody's is not known that the algorithm is designed to push stuff that you like. Yeah. So most likely, when you're scrolling down, you're going to encounter a lot of stuff that you are attracted to some way, somehow. So it's not about just commenting to do what you're doing, like just to be fake.
Right.
You like those things. Yeah. You're consuming the content. Yeah. Let that person know about it. Yeah. If it's a personal post, if that person took the time to create some piece of content to inform, educate somebody, like there's time, especially those that goes the extra mile on that. Like, it's to your point, that is so powerful, and it's something that I feel that even myself sometimes get caught up on the creating, and it's like, there's power on just connecting, commenting, and seeing what the other people are creating. You know,
Yeah.
even if it's Jorge with 3,000 followers that just posted something personal, like that's the best way in today's world to connect with somebody.
I mean, some of the best content I find is from people who have 1,500 followers.
Yeah, isn't
right?
that crazy?
And they're just making something that they thought up in their head, and that's a good idea.
So nowadays we have this misconception that success on social media it's direct. It's related directly to the amount of followers that you have,
Right.
and it's like that maybe used to be at the beginning, but there's so many other ways to, so many metrics. If you want to go to the numbers, so many other metrics that you can take. There's so many platforms too. Just because you're not doing good in Instagram doesn't mean that you're a powerhouse on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, and that happens too. I don't know, Mr. Beats,
Yeah.
one of the, most successful or the most successful YouTuber in the world. Like, you go to his Instagram, he barely posts on Instagram, but on YouTube, there's no one that can compare to him.
No. I was watching a bunch of his videos last night.
Right. So
I want to see what other people are doing, right? That's the average person, and most realtors don't think about it like this, so I'll skip over this part quickly, but the average person thinks I learn until I'm about 23, 25, right? Then I go and I work 25 to 65, and then I play. And everyone understands that, okay, there's play in that whole thing, right?
Yep.
I'm going to play when I'm a kid, I'm going to play, and that. What people forget is that after 25, you can still learn.
Yep.
Right? And so if you are learning based, this business is the best business in the world because there is infinite to learn.
Yep.
Right? We're sitting here with a whole social media setup, right?
Yep.
Across the board. And how many realtors would know to do this?
Yeah. No,
None.
None.
But you had to take time and learn how to produce content. Okay, if you don't know how to produce content, you can still sell 100, 200 homes a year.
Yeah.
You don't have to, there's so many ways to do it. What are you going to pursue? How are you going to decide what to pursue? It's an amazing business for growth and learning and becoming the
100%.
best person that you can possibly be in.
100%.
I think we're both very blessed.
100%. 100%. And you're definitely a great attractor of business. Now, what would you say to those people? Because you're funny by nature, bro. You gotta look. Any videos, by the way, look him up on social media. We're probably gonna put it down below so you can follow him. You're naturally funny. What would you say to those people that are not? I don't consider myself funny at all. Like, I could be funny at times, but I'm not funny. Like, that's not my. For some people, it comes more natural.
What's engaging? You have to, if you're talking about content creation, I'm not a guru on content creation in any way, shape, or form, but for me, it's just about doing something that's a pattern interrupter. That's what my videographer always says.
Love it.
We have to interrupt the pattern. So, interlace your fingers real quick. Now do it, the other thumb on top.
The other one. Mm-hmm.
You like all the fingers, but the other, like, do all the fingers different, and the other thumb on top, right? So completely different feel, right?
Yep.
You would never do that. You would never hold your hands like this.
Yep.
Because you usually do this.
Damn.
You wouldn't. It feels weird.
Yeah.
But that changes everything, right?
Yep.
So in yoga, you'll do that. You always sit on with this leg on. Well, sit on this leg under. You have to do some sort of pattern interrupting if you want to create content.
Love that.
Because if you post the same content the guy before you did, and the guy before you did, and the guy before you did, but just with your face, you're a handsome dude, but it's not gonna cut it.
Yeah.
You have to do something that's a little different. So I do man on the street videos, and if you're not familiar, follow me, you'll see them. Mine's called Ask the Av. That's what we call the segment. We go to downtown Delray, and we just ask people questions. Sometimes we'll get funny. Sometimes we'll get real estate related. Sometimes we'll just ask random questions.
Yes.
But the mic's always on something different. A pickleball paddle, a spatula, because
100%.
it just gets people to stop and say,
that's the first
was
thing.
that a pickleball paddle?
Why do I see a pickleball?
Yeah. And so why? Just because.
Yeah.
Why do I ask weird questions? Because it changes people. They're like, oh man. And a lot of people are like, I'm not answering that. Okay.
Okay. Next.
We don't need that much content to make a video, right? What we know is the average thing that's being watched on Instagram is being watched for 10 to 15 seconds, right? I just put out a video, it was 1 minute and 20 seconds. The average person watches for 16 seconds.
Wow.
Because I didn't do a good enough job of hooking them, right? So what's your hook?
Yeah.
And so that's the stuff that I'm getting really into the Mr. Beast stuff about.
So you don't when you go do those on the street and questions, do you come up with the script? Do you have an idea?
No, we just do it all on the fly.
Just on the fly.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's been really fun. You know, the next one, I think we're starting to come up with questions so we can gear it towards what we want.
Yeah.
So like the next time we go out, we're gonna ask all about real estate.
But there's what I noticed myself in the short time that I've been doing. I've been like more intentional on social media, maybe about a year, no more than that. And I've come to realize a few things. One is like to be able to tweak and kind of like be more prepared next time.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta jump on it first. It's kind of like now you're finding some sort of structure.
That's it.
But it's like because it's like you experience, you kind of have an inventory of content that you could tell, well, this worked. People find this funny. This was weird to ask. People didn't like this.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, next time let's focus on this. But you need the volume to be able to measure it.
And we live in a world where our parents raise us in a way where they don't want us to fail. So they don't put us in opportunities where we can fail and figure it out ourselves. If we do fail, our parents want to step in and figure it out for us.
Yep.
It's a huge disservice. So anybody with kids out there, I know you want to do it. I know your heart's in the right place. Stop doing this.
Yes.
You're creating really crappy adults by not letting them fail early. Let them fail. Let them figure it out while you're still there. While it's not that big of a deal. While they're still all cartilage, right?
Yep.
Because babies are mostly cartilage, right? So our bones become more brittle as we get older. Break bones when you're young. You know, go out there and make the mistakes. Social media is all content creation. Real estate in general is all about failing and then failing better.
Yes.
Right?
Love that.
Failing forward is what we say. So I just, it was 3 days ago, Keller Williams had this whole thing called Tech the Halls, where we went over all the things that you could be doing with tech to amplify your business in 2024. We're sitting here at the end of 2023 and we're thinking about this. And I realized I don't have any Google reviews. So we've been working for a while on setting up our Google account and making sure we're ready. And we heard one thing and boom, we went out and got, I think as of today, we have 58 Google reviews. We started a day and a half ago.
Wow.
58 Google reviews. But hear me out. Remember, I've been in the business 5.5 years. So I'm reaching out to people that I sold houses to 3-4 years ago. And was I the best realtor then? No. 90% of people get that. Okay, he was starting in a business. We went with him. He worked really hard. He got us a good deal. Could it have been a little better? Could he have been a little more communicative? Yes. But 2 people responded and they said, I don't think I should write a review for your business because of what? And I said, listen, you got everything you wanted. Okay, it was a little shaky at times. And I apologize for that. And I'm human, right? But what was I going to do? Study the business for 5 years before I ever started? I still mess up.
100%.
Right? Every day I'm going to mess up. And I think it's time that people in your position and my position and speak more about that, about the fact that we aren't perfect.
It's powerful, especially social media, because one of America's biggest fear is public speaking. Public speaking is being obviously in front of a public. In public could be even virtually in front of a camera. And throughout my journey, I realized talking to other people and even trying to put people in front of the camera, like it's a true fear, man. Like I didn't realize it because we've been in sales even before social media. We're salespeople and we're used to being in front of people. So we kind of lost part of that fear. We have to force ourselves to be kind of like social in that aspect. But whoever is not, the general public, they're fearful. It's a true fear. So being intentional and to your point, losing the fear, not being afraid of putting yourself out there on camera makes a huge difference. And it comes down to volume too. Like, and I'm sure that you will agree with that. I go a year back and look at the first pieces of content that I put out. It's like, what the heck was I saying there? You know, like what did I try to say there? That didn't even make sense.
I don't even understand.
I looked so nervous. Like I didn't even understand myself. But it's like I had to go through those before hitting the.
So the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, which is the number one real estate book out there.
An amazing book.
Not to plug Keller Williams too much, but written by Gary Keller, right?
No, he's great. He's wonderful.
There's a part in there where he references a quote from a book that he read. And it's all about making clay pots, right? So they split this pottery class into two. And they say, this side of the class, just make an amount of volume of pots. You have to make, let's say, 50 pounds of pots.
Wow.
This side of the class, you just make one pot, the best pot you can make, go. So they had this one, let's call it the left side and the right side. So the left side that had to do volume just gets to it. They just start making pots. They fall apart. Okay, we'll make another part. We'll make another pot. Boom, boom, boom. The right side sits there. They strategize. How do we make the perfect pot? They research.
They have the time, right?
They research. They really figure out, okay, this is what would work. And they go to make one pot and it falls apart. The people who just made volume, their last pot is amazing.
Wow.
Why? Because they failed better, they failed better, they failed better, they failed better.
That's powerful.
That's exactly like our social media. And someone who's with EXP, Veronica Figueroa, I once heard her at the EXP convention when I was with EXP, and she said, my shitty video is better than your non-existent video.
That's good.
Right? And that's simple. Only because if I'm person A and there's person B, and we're trying to sell you on our services, and I can show you something that I've done, and this person's still sitting there pondering, who you going with? You're going with the person who you got something from.
Yes.
So make sure that you're just going out there and doing. You are going to be bad the first time. Let me take that pressure off of you, right? Let me take the pressure of.
I love that.
Take the pressure of like trying to get it.
Don't be attached to the outcome.
Yeah, you're not. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah, right.
Put it out there anyways. Let people experience the journey. I mean, you have friends, right? How many of your friends have you watched go from, I don't know about this kid, I don't know where he's going with life, to like making it, and you feel like I was on that journey with him.
Yeah.
I'll bring it back to something more of a global thing. Music. You ever find an artist and like nobody really knows about them? Like you heard about them here, you heard about them there, and you feel like, oh man, I discovered them. For me, it was Imagine Dragons, right? I was like, no one's heard of this band. They only have 6 songs out.
Yeah, right.
I love this stuff.
It's like you feel you're the agent, right?
Yeah. Like I'm telling everybody, I'm bringing people to the concert. Right? We're a team, me and Imagine Dragons, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, why wouldn't you allow?
Yeah.
Right? You were doing a disservice to your database to not allow them to go on that journey with you. You were doing a disservice to only show them the best of you in the future, which isn't going to be as good. So you're not only doing a disservice by not putting out the content now, by not letting them be on the journey, you're doing a disservice because even when you go on the journey, your content is going to be worse because you didn't start now. So it's a double whammy.
That is so good, especially example with the music industry. Right before these podcasts, I was on the phone with my coach, and he gave me a similar example too. With the content and music, they go hand to hand in that aspect. Musicians too. It's like you have that big hit, and you think like, wow, they got it right. All the ones that they didn't even like. When you discover an artist, especially go to Spotify, one of those platforms, you see the number 1 song, hundreds of thousands of views and listens to, and then you go to the next one. It's like, they had to go through those first before hitting this one. They have their production, they have the content, but it's like you're only known for that one. But it's like there's a whole portfolio of music. There's a whole portfolio of content.
My coach yesterday, same thing. We were talking about it, and he said, it's not. You learn by executing and then reflecting. So if you don't execute, you never get to reflect.
Yep.
So go out there, execute whatever it is you want. It could be, I mean, you want to make ice cream? Just go make ice cream tomorrow.
Yes.
Watch one YouTube video and try and make it.
Yes.
And then go, okay, why did that fail? Watch another YouTube video.
Yeah.
Oh, I realized when I was making it, I didn't do that. But if you never did it, you don't even realize what you would have messed up.
Yeah.
And it takes you so much longer to start failing. Start failing now.
Yeah. Yeah. I love, I don't know if you know of Ray Dalio.
Of course.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. I wish I had 6 years to read his first book, Principles.
Right?
it's so big and so dense.
I had to read it twice. The first one I didn't understand it, and it's like so deep.
So deep.
But but at the same time, there's a lot. I like the fact that he likes to simplify stuff. He has this quote that says, "Pain plus reflection equal progress."
That's it.
If you take out the reflection part, you only stay with the pain. You know.
Genius.
If there's no reflection, there's not gonna be progress.
Yeah.
You're gonna just.
How have you seen that show up in your life?
In my life, man.
Where have you used pain and self-reflection to get progress?
In every aspect, brother. Every aspect, especially being intentional, spending time with myself, because you gotta to be able to have a true reflection experience. You have to be able to spend time with yourself. It's a lot of noise, you know, especially you, for example. You're a very social guy. You know a lot of people. You're always surrounded by people.
Yeah.
But if you're not intentional spending time with yourself, I don't know, wherever it is, right in that bench right there, that's where most of my thoughts, journaling, taking the time, that's where the reflection in my sentimental relationship, personal relationship, family, business, in all aspects, it's the same process. Just sitting down and just going through whatever happened, whatever is about to happen, anything. That's the power. Brother, this was super good. I know that anyone that jump on this and consume this piece of content is going to enjoy it. You're a true testament of the power of connection and social media. I myself have learned a lot from this, especially for those agents or any industry. If you want to jump from being a prospector and being an attractor, the connection part and being intentional and building a relationship, that's what makes a difference. And social media is free, man. It's free for everybody.
Yeah.
It makes it fair for everyone. There's no excuse.
Right.
Yeah, the equipment, the editing helps, but there's a lot of people doing it without those tools. So
I'm doing it without those tools.
Right?
Yeah.
So the sky's the limit. Man, I appreciate it. Looking forward to
Thank you, my friend.
more, man. And
Un placer.
un placer. If you like this video, don't forget to share with someone. Let me know your thoughts of this video in the comments below.